Well, I'll kick her off because obviously you're a recruiter first and a FPL phenom second, but he's back.
What a thing of beauty.
Almost back to back, mate.
So it's probably Stuart Dallas from Leeds United. I mean, he was an out of position defender, which in FPL it's the dream scenario, because if a defender gets a clean sheet and they get some attacking points, then that's pretty much nailed on for 3 bonus points as well. So yeah, out of position defenders are they're just gold dust in FPL, and that's probably my first tip. Just try and find those for those types of players, really. Probably some of the premiums, the likes of Sterling and KDB at Man City.
Some of the heavy hitters, and in more of a sort of a letdown, the Kai Havertz of the world as well, and some of the Chelsea ones I thought were going to light it up that didn't. But yeah, certainly some of the big hitters. I don't think. When I think Mane was even close to having what he was like the season before either. So yeah, it was there was a few of the more premium players that didn't perform for sure.
It was something to do with Southampton was supposed to be playing Shrewsbury in the FA Cup, and it was postponed because of COVID or something, and it ended up with City being included in double game week, and I didn't really have City coverage. I doubled up on some of the other teams, and it was just a massive blunder, and it was difficult to claw my way back from that. Like I said, I don't really take hits. I don't think that they really pay off. Yeah. But I just got a bit gung ho, went for the -12, and massively regretted it. Within the first half of the season, your main objective, or one of your main objectives, is really to accrue and increase your team value as much as possible. And you're really doing that so that when you get to your second wild card, which is typically going to be around, it tends to be sort of game week 27 or 28 when you're hitting the blanks and the doubles in the second half of the season. That's when having that high team value is really going to be of use. So for the first half, probably the first 2/3 of the season, that's when you really want to be quite aggressive and make those early transfers. The difference between if a player goes up in price by 0.1 or 0.2 during the week, then that'll really cost you later on in the season.
Yeah.
And the first few weeks of the season, you can make those aggressive transfers because the teams won't be playing in Europe midweek, and they won't be playing in the cup games midweek. Arguably, the most important decision you'll make in any given week is your captain choice. If you captain blanks, it's quite difficult to have a good game week score and to actually get a green arrow. Just captain the premiums. Sometimes when I say premiums, I mean the midfielders and forwards. The guys who are valued they're typically more than 10 million.
Will you captain a defender? Have you been known to do that out? Like not a goal scorer, clean sheet.
I don't think I've ever captained a defender before. I mean, I've seen people have captained Trent Alexander-Arnold in the past, and that's worked off, or maybe Marcus Alonso a couple of seasons ago when he was on fire at Chelsea. But by and large, I would recommend always sticking for a midfielder and a forward. Ideally a midfielder, because they get as a midfield player they can get 1 point for a clean sheet.
Sure.
Plus they get more points, assists and goals scored than a forward. I always think that form is more important than fixtures. So if you've got a player who is in form, but he's about to play, City or Liverpool, don't bench him. If he's in form, keep him on the pitch. I think the final tip that I give, the final piece of advice, is just to have fun. Like I'm an FPL nerd, as you can probably tell. I take this stuff too seriously. But at the one end of the spectrum, you can you know, you can take on board all these points that I've said and spend all week looking at stats and agonizing over your captaincy and who you can transfer in. The other end of the spectrum, you could just be a complete casual, open the app up on a Friday night, just say, oh, that guy scored a couple of goals last week, I'll bring him in. Like I said, you know, there is obviously an element of luck with this, and it seems like you're getting more and more players each year, so it's only going to become tougher. You know, it was a good battle last year with a couple of my ex-colleagues, Shane Gooch and Matt Greenwood as well.
Yeah.
Luckily, Matt kind of collapsed in the last 2 games of the season, which was good. But
he smashed the Archway boys from about December. He was gone out of their league.
Yeah, just couldn't handle the pressure, eh, Matt?
Out of the 4 years, 3 years I've bought United tops, which is it's a painful experience every time. But that'll get down, and of course, yeah, Woody will be coming down to your way as well.
Beautiful. All right, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it, mate.
Take care, mate. All the best. Ta-ra.